Very interesting. Gonna zoom now. And see this. Zoom out of here. Oh yeah, testing, testing. It's like a pre-record, but not it's a live stream. But it's for the export. Interesting. Export. It's supposed to be landing, but my thoughts in order. As much as I like to be kind of how to put this, as much as I like to be quiet, I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be thoughtful. And while I'm looking forward to a lot of things, maybe an explanation is required for a lot of areas, many areas. There could be a little more explanation. Because I've been experiencing some strange occurrences since I was young. Well, I've been young since I was born, but the thing is that it's a bit strange when you think about how we affect each other.
Thermal protection falling.
Well, right now my thermal protection is falling, and I need a
Technology recharge.
battery charge. Maybe that is. And then now that I can be more present and maybe get some things out of my head that I can't usually while I'm trying to craft per se. But it's a beautiful thing to think about when you can. And while I ran into the necessity of what do you call it? Of of obstacles that in turn, for the most part, rose out of well, for one part, my incompetence, really, and how I kind of, how do I put this? I remove myself from situations in such a natural, but or unconscious manner that I'm able to just see how the reason I am removing myself is because of how others are so removed. And so how do I put this? I have a lot to explain, just like everybody else. And I realize that a lot of explaining isn't done because of how explaining requires the ability to throw yourself out there, and then there's individuals who throw themselves out there and in a way, yeah, they're more than another, and the ones that have something actually important to say aren't saying anything, and then it turns into this thing where the influence that's the most powerful isn't using the tool that we're given from what we've been, and then we blame the the crowd that's actually trying to enlighten everybody, while I'm here trying to figure why I'm worried about a future that I know is going to be fine, but in the sense that I love everyone so much, then it just becomes this whole thing of who do I love more? Because it seems like loving everyone has taken more than I can say, and I've had to focus, and so to love everybody at once, I tried to collectively reimagine the best for everybody, but while trying to do so, it just revealed and made, and well, yeah, it took my blinds off, and I saw, you could see the margin, the error of how there's a lot of there's a bunch of ideas that everybody has, and when the ones that are the ideas that are being given could easily be more substantial, some more substance, some more full. Well, yeah, the ideas that are given could be more full. And while I try to live, how do I say, a balance between understanding that through something like this, like a Twitch stream, or a YouTube stream, or a channel, or a page on a media or something like that. It has a position in the vastness of what we call ourselves, and then now we see the effect it has had on everyone together, pretty for the most part. Everybody's sharing everything, and some sharing too much, and then how do you measure that? And so we have, and I've become restricted by the ideas of others, and I've seen how I've been manipulated in many ways, and for the most part I still am. This kind of ability that I have to broadcast what I'm doing in the game here has led me to also communicate over, well, radio pretty much, but in the sense that while I try to play a video game while here and present with everybody, I feel the closeness and the span of our situation to understand that there's a manner to be held. And now that I've come to conclude what my person has decided, I've seen that there's a lot of things that I could that I appreciate, but I don't know how to explain, and so I explain in the fashion that everybody explains it, or most, yeah, everybody. We all show ourselves in such a beautiful manner that we convince others that we're another person. And when I say that convince, is because of how we fill ourselves to the extent of how much faith we have. And when you have faith, you have so much potential that others can't sometimes see that. But for some reason, it's for as we how do I put this? When there's so much to be done and so much to be decided, and there's people who, or let me take off here because maybe moving around will help me with this, what do you call it, with this line of progress, this current of thought, this current of thinking, interesting current of thinking. So, as real as life likes to be, I've ran into situations where it seems like a lot of what we're capable of is being restrained to the necessity that we're not sharing, as we're it's so clear to me how what should be there and what shouldn't, but at the same time nobody wants to conform to an exact look. And while well, beginning to explore more of what it means to be alive. Arrived in many places where everybody has their collection, their their progress made, and I'm glad that there's people who made it very far and everything. It's just how the focus turned into, and then how the focus turned into itself. And well, yeah, here I am driving or flying in a spaceship, and well not, and while sitting in place and waiting for the moment to share more than I could normally. But the thing is that the best thing we could share is ourselves already. Like, families are amazing and add so much to the world, you know. It's kind of necessary for people to be comfortable with growing their individuality. But the thing is that when somebody grows their individuality and adds more consciousness to what is something that we're looking to understand, we make ideas for ourselves and then pretend that those ideas have been helping, when in reality they don't. And so when things happen like that, it's kind of difficult to accept how, wherever I'm going with this point I'm trying to make, the point I'm trying to make here is many, because there's a variety of places to be here. But how do I say this? I'm glad everybody's here, but the thing is that I see that for us to be here, we can be more how can I put this? So I've been very interested in the idea of writing a book and making a biography or some sort of written assessment of what I've experienced, and then explain what I still am, because I'm still here experiencing what's so strange, to say the least. If I had more words to put or lay out exactly what I'm seeing while I'm going throughout the days and nights that keep passing, it's a bit difficult to it's something else to bring that into the perspective of a person, because of how how I start to see there's others outside of me that require a lot of assistance. And when I'm watching the communities support individuals that have those selfish intentions with the way that they've gained or garnered, I use the word, their attention. And when I try to come out to light, it becomes this whole thing of, am I doing it right, or am I gonna be facing these or certain? Oh, that's why I need more of those batteries. And so while I'm here broadcasting this gameplay, the amount of effort to want to enjoy what I'm for one purchasing, but the thing is that the people who are behind all this design and architecture in this kind of realm have added so much to what it takes to connect with everybody, aside from living in your circle. When you
Technology recharge. Technology recharge.
Oh, I talked
Technology recharge.
But while we're told to ignore and make decisions according to the situations we've fallen into, it's a bit more. I could be a bit more ecstatic. But the thing is that I have had a lot of time to think and a lot of time to not. And I've reached a point where I've realized that some people don't know where to put a lot of their time. And when they decide to put it somewhere, it turns into this thing where we have to explain to something that's looking for what I have. Something that's looking for what I have. But it's so strange. I've tried to reach a point where all at once I can add to the world. When I do so, I could have maybe had more of a ground for where I'm trying to go with this. And the thing is that I've pretty much already am where I want to be. Now I just want to be able to stay here. But it's just that I'm being restricted to giving my life away. And while I give my life away and I'm tempted by the idea that I don't deserve things until I've worked a certain amount is ridiculous, because I've seen how much I've seen how much we've changed and how much we can do to not be aware of the occurrence and the ripple effect that everything has had, to be ignored and then told that they're keeping that information slightly, so things can continue the way they are. And while I've been purchasing myself in things like this, and in games, and making my time more enjoyable by means of trying to consume what others make for a while, and spend a bit of the money I've tried to accumulate through the labor I've put out after going through some strenuous well some strenuous years just like that, because I was present back then. I was present back then. There were certain things that I saw were wrong. To see what was wrong, and there was a lot to take in for somebody who couldn't really do much. It was strange to watch it's because it's so unnecessary to even talk about it sometimes, because of how I try to not blame anybody in the sense that I'm not, how do I put this? Try not to blame anybody for the way that I see things, because I've noticed that everybody tried to understand their situation. And the thing is that while I can continue, while I can keep explaining as much as I can, I can maybe reach the point of explaining in return explaining to me, really, because I kind of know that I need this information more than anybody, because I can take it in. I've known. So I've seen how my phone holds so much information, and where it can take me. But that's to put it plainly, because of how the phone is so systematically inclined to look like a TV and have connection to what this is, which is like us transmitting ourselves through electrical currents and reaching out into the distance while we try to explain to ourselves why we're doing that when we already know, because we're looking for that way of living where we're not worried about the workplace, because the workplace turned into this whole somewhere where you were tied and they made you well, yeah, they made you lose the ends of your life to prove that you were willing to give, while people mind their business, because of how everybody wants to ignore until it's affecting them, and then all of a sudden it becomes everybody's problem. And so while I've been here realizing that my phone has been misbehaving, or what I've seen in well, it's because that's the thing. The phone is pretty much made out of us. Like you can't really have the phone without the people, in the sense that we're capable of enjoying the phone. And the reason I enjoy my phone is because there's people on it. And if there's no people on it, for the most part, it goes towards aspects of, or how do you say, caricatures that have similarities to what real life is, and it's very enjoyable at times, but it can consume the attention in around, well, while we're trying, and it can consume attention quickly, and that's because what happened very quickly. And the thing is that a lot of the times what we're seeing through our phones is the past, or slightly trying to be present here with us. And while I go on saying the beginning of what is an entire video here, because I was gonna go into 7 days and continue making the concrete product. How do you say it? I was gonna continue making my character reach the point where I can make concrete. And how do I put this? There's a lot to add when it comes to what I've noticed, that people want to say that what they add is normal, and then what I add supposedly needs regulation. But I've seen and I appreciate how the support I have around reaches and well, reaches in a very thoughtful manner, but my situation continues strangely devoured, to say the least. While I'm trying to use some of the acquired wealth here that I've seen that I was able to make while being told that I needed to pay something, and then well that kind of turned into this thing where I realized that a lot of what I'm looking for is right in front of me, and when I realized that, it was a bit of a it was a bit of a wake up call, but not from not from me. And when I tried to explain to myself why I was going to have to accept the the mission, or the objective, or the how do I put the I gave myself the assignment to reach a point where I could live, and when that happened, I was going to explain the world to everybody, because it seemed like nobody was able to do that. And so around the time where I was here, because I'm in my spaceship right now, playing Skyday, Skyland, No Man's Sky. My person is a bit out of the loop, because I've been trying to enjoy myself in the sense that I'm supposed to be taking things a little bit more lightly when it comes to the seriousness of how my situation is. Because as much as I like to be worried about others, and seeing that there's so much that we can help each other with, and so in such a quickly and so quick, in such a in such a, in such a swift way, like we're able to just adjust somebody's situation by providing them with a hug, or a gift, and a kind gesture, and it adds so much to the day. But sometimes it hurts to know that that's as much as you can give. But when you give your world to give your world and open your life to something that doesn't need to be explained, but is there for you to appreciate, has so much to offer. And I can maybe, how can I maybe go this way and that way, and go here and try to what was I saying? Oh yeah, so this podcast here, testing, we're we're sitting in a spaceship, and I'm trying to lay out my mind in a way where my thinking becomes more fluid without the need of a pencil. I really enjoy writing and reading and music and homework and work and driving I already said read. And watching, and it's so good, it's so cool. But I also enjoy watching others express themselves and how their person decides to add in their person decides to add in a lot many add so much. How do I put this? I could fly off in here in the spaceship, and then I wouldn't be sitting with these animals that are walking around. That's me talking about here, this, and what was I saying? Oh yeah, I've been experiencing many situations like many others, and or like everybody else. But the thing is that it's so unnecessary. I've come to realize how for the most part it seems like what's getting in my way is other people. But when that's also the solution, it becomes this thing of I know who's doing the right thing, and well, while I try to boost my exposure when it comes to who I am, and the realization that it's so easily explained that I could do so much with the tool that we've made to help the organization of our abilities, and to watch others who to watch other people in the sense that you're trying to learn and grow and add to your worldview. You begin to to become a bit more strict to the ideas that you hold, because of how compassion and care and attention all play a big, and more, all those emotions play a big role in the progression of who we are as individuals, not how as people. Because of what? Because if you say individuals, it becomes this thing of everybody's disconnected, but it's because we're all connected in such an imaginable manner that trying to imagine that makes it so beautiful. That's why games like this, that don't require you to mutilate the ideas that you have such a powerful impact on our lives and on our situations. But while we're here trying to explain to the abundance that we need more, to explain to the abundance that what I could do with a fraction of what some others of what I could do with a fraction of. Well, it's 'cause, okay, so it depends where I'm trying to go with this. And well, in one case, I'd like to prepare the future. And to do so, I need to prepare mine. And to have seen that others have prepared theirs, and noticing how it's affecting, it's becoming it got a bit entangled. It got a bit tangled up there. And to be here with everybody is so beautiful that I'm unable to explain it all at once. So while I'm trying to go here, might as well move her on. While I'm trying to continue to explain how much I don't want to be playing a lot of video games. I understand that the time that I do play them, I should be enjoying them, and it's pretty cool. I love video games. They're super nice and all. But because of how it seems like the adults that's such a dumb thing. The people that are the grown-up people that are deciding that they've been able to add to the world of video games is a strange idea, because of how these video games come from people who think that they're correct, because people decide to be correct. And when they decide to be correct in the wrong, it makes the problem. The thing is that a lot of times I don't have to be saying anything. I don't have to be talking. I don't have to be adding to the situation. But I've come to realize that in my quietness and my muteness, things become more dangerous, because of how I'm another voice to the understanding of what we feel when it comes to how we're being treated, and for the most part, I've seen how there's so much help around, and it becomes oh man, there's something scanning. There's so much help around, and it becomes this thing where we've made it into we made help selfish, and when it became oh, that's a cool entrance. We made help selfish. So that's good. Hey, well, hold it. I'm being attacked by these things. There's another one.
Hostile ships defeated.
And so much, as much as I'd like to be entertaining when it comes to what I'm doing at the moment, that's gonna have to wait. If this isn't enough, because throughout the current of what's happening here.
Technology recharge.
Throughout the current of what's happening here. Throughout the current of what's happening here, it's kind of funny to watch a lot of things occur. Because I've seen how my use of funny is kind of funny. So the thing is that I'm trying to enjoy what it means to be here and adding to my my perspective, adding to my area, my situation, getting some substance, but it becomes more of a challenge when you see the decline of what the climb is. It's like there's an uphill battle, but there's also it's an uphill battle, but the hill is slippery. There's an uphill battle, but the hill is slippery. How do I put this? So I've been here trying to enjoy these video games, but I'm trying to enjoy them while knowing that the future continues to be headed my way, and while it is going down over here, kind of late, but that's nothing. Could be later. While I'm here trying to explain myself, while I'm being, well, how do you say it? Well, it's because I'm being myself, but in there's, how do I put this? I could be more clear, but I'm pretty sure there's a lot of things that I would like to avoid. There's so much to go around, and it just becomes this difficult situation when you assume that that I'm explaining everything all here, because I'm trying to get somewhere, but while I'm trying to arrive to the situation where I can finally feel like I'm so I don't require a lot. I'm being how do you say, I'm being helped by by everybody around me. Everybody here is so great and beautiful that they're working for the exact same thing that I'm trying to explain. That is for the most part not as necessary as some might feel. But the thing is that it's a bit difficult to add. It's a bit difficult to add to the air when your addition is being received unjustly. So I'm trying to be here. I'm trying to explain, talk, but while I'm trying to be here and arrive to my live stream and in an organized and articulate, adequate, and full of energy and growth to the ambient that is what we make around where we love to live. But when it's full of garbage and ideas that aren't for or ideas that are, well, yes, because that's aren't necessary. It's full of children that won't grow up, and the children that are coming out are barely, are, how do you say, the children that we're receiving are having to grow up faster than a lot of the grown-ups care to grow up. Like, how do I explain this? It's so difficult to watch grown-ups behave in I could when I say that, everything I've seen just flies, like, just goes through my head like it's so fast. It's just like watching everything all while you're going through your thinking process, and you're trying to explain to the grasping of others that you can see that like them, but while you're trying to get them to see more of what they're missing, because it's coming from me, it's like, how do you grab that attention when you know that I like that? Okay, so I'm trying to okay, so my attention is given and received, and okay, so I think okay, it's because that's an idea. My attention is given, my attention is received. No, my attention is given, I receive attention. My attention is given, my attention is given. Do I give my attention? Yeah, I give my attention. I give my attention. Anyways, I had to drink some water there. I'm climbing a bit of a hill. I'm climbing a bit of a mountain here. I'm trying to explain that while I have a lot of things to say and a lot of things in my mind, it seems like many people don't want to hear it because of how we're all consuming that information that all the time as well. But the thing is that we're trying all to grow out of what is our what we're seeing is taking advantage of us. We can see how we're being taken advantage by a by a it's a we're being taken advantage by the organization of our value that was or that's constantly being judged. Our value is constantly being judged. As much as people want to say they don't judge people and they don't that's and that they don't do anything and that they don't want to interfere, they don't want to. It's a bunch of like it's so strange that like, how do I it's a bunch of baloney that you can even say that because of how judging is the reason that we were able to decide if we agree that certain things are acceptable or not. And when you're watching that most of what you do it so okay, how do I put this? We continue growing up and we start to experience more, and so we run into situations that add to the understanding that we hold to one day cause us to decide for others. And when we decide for others, we try to do that with the intention that it's gonna help them. And if not, then there's something up with that person that's being not helpful. But if you're when you're trying to help that that how do you say when you're trying to help the world that a view that we hold as people and understand and how do I put that, and capture how we're capable of what we're being shown to then be told that we're supposed to fall into this place of necessity that we need to, when in reality we don't. And that's what's holding a lot of people and making our world so difficult when it comes to how easy it would be to just bring everybody into light. How we could all agree that there's a lot to be done around here, but when we're all around everywhere and not focusing, it takes away from areas, and then the structure of certain points begins to diminish, and then we try to explain to ourselves why we're being so selfish and uninviting. But the thing is that how can I be inviting when I've seen that the when I how can I be inviting when I've seen the selfishness that I have had, and in doing so you run into patterns of growth where I've grounded myself to the point where I had to practice a lot of what to practice in many subjects and areas of what it means to be alive, and being able to being capable of grasping of being capable how do you say, adjusting your situation for the benefit of your world and your life. And when you start to see how everybody's rooting for you, and they want you to succeed and become something, you start to see how much how you start to see you start to see the you start to look inward. But inward, what does that mean? You start to look inward. That's what they got. So, not inward. How do I put this? It's like having an out of body experience, but in person, because of how through the growth of what we are and can accomplish. As much as I'd like to add what I see that would would stir up a lot of commotion. I can see, I can picture and imagine and visualize that where it would go, and so that when I do that, I don't want it to go there. So what I do is I do something else. Else. Well, I do something else for you. If I have no debts, I have no reason to be worried, because of how much I trust in God and the faith that we hold as people, that it can grow out the understanding. But sometimes that becomes the point of where we're being manipulated, or because we're told that we're supposed to be okay because God is real and everything is fine. But through that, there's people that don't change, and we continue to suffer for us to get to the point where we're accepting the suffering, and we pass away in a humble manner. And so when I'm here, I'm enjoying the little things in life and trying to grow the wealth that I've accumulated as it comes to who I am and who everybody else is. Because I've seen how much people care, and I've seen how much growth there is in the world, that when it comes to who we are, because everybody's so awesome. Like, how do I put this? I can say so much. The animals love to see us. And when animals are living out their lives out there and seeing the world as it is, we can say that they enjoy it presently and in an animal life. But the thing is that anything, the animals could be here a lot longer because of how we can help the situation. And so when animals start to realize that the continuation of their living revolves around what a person is, it adds a depth that congruently has the substance of what life is. But when I'm here talking in parts, and if you come into the room and what I'm saying is out of place, it becomes this thing of what part do you intervene, or when do you join and add to the to add to this this tool here. It's a tool. It's a beautiful. There's so much to accomplish with communication like this. I've been thinking a lot about how our person is capable of sharing through mindful explanation, and when the currency of our thought patterns is something that brings joy to everybody, it's appreciated in many ways. And so I've noticed that there's an appreciation for the wrongdoings of others, and it brings people to the conclusion that they're supposed to add to that, and it separates the abundance. But the thing is that as important as some are, I mean, that as important as everybody is, the decisions that some have to take in order to find in order to find comfort and peace in a world that's been taking them. But when we add to that worry, it becomes this thing of how do we help it. And so I'm glad that there's a lot to accomplish. I appreciate that there's so much to do, but I have noticed how with everything that there is to do, I can be doing something here. And so I am. I'm deciding to enjoy myself by sitting here for a moment and taking in what it means to sit down, not in front of a camera, but in front of a microphone pretty much is capturing what the camera would have without the lens. And so what am I trying to say? Well, everything really. But the thing is that I have suspicions, and when I've noticed that the parenting had corrupted, I grew resentful and bitter about how things were being handled. So I took matters into my own hands and decided to educate myself in the manner in the areas that I saw fit. And when I did that, it became clear to me that many people did the same. So they became resilient and strong individuals or strong people. And I keep saying individuals. What are you saying all the time? I have to repeat a lot of words, it seems. But so we become. It's like we're slowly rolling into a ball of armor, and when we completely close and can roll smoothly, that's sometimes the finish for some people. And they decided to keep rolling. They decided to keep rolling and never open up again, and it causes this closure or this disconnection. Like I'm pretty sure there's a lot of grounds to cover when it comes to the amount of care that is being shown when it comes to the things I'm consuming, like the things I'm capable of purchasing and buying around, and the substance or the addition, what do you call a bag of chips? A bag of chips is a bag that has chips in it. Chips are made of many varieties of ingredients, and those ingredients are derived from the fruits of this earth. And what we're trying to explain to the abundance, how much I could really multiply the wealth and how much I could multiply the richness of what we have already. And when I've seen how much I can do with everything that I have around me, when it's given to me, I surprise myself, and it's a beautiful thing to know that you can be an inventor, you can be a creator of things, because it reminds you that you're so much more than what a lot of people treat you like, and when you start creating and adding more substance to the abilities that we're growing, we're we're aging into, it becomes more clear how throughout the span of our life we're capable of practice. But the thing is that after practicing for a long time, and after practicing through a long time, and realizing that I could be anybody else, that I could be in a different situation and say that I'm somebody else, that I'm doing something that's not this, and realizing that other people are out there that are taking different positions of place, and what I'm trying to explain, because I'm here being misinterpreted by the cutting of time, misinterpreted by the cutting of time, misinterpreted by the cutting of time. How do I explain that? There's a pretty big jump that I had to, that we have to make when, okay, let's see, when I say we, when I say we. I don't have to go there. But whenever there's more of the things that are necessary for our able of what we can. So okay, so I like food, I like water, I like being warm and sometimes fresh. I like being warm and fresh. While we're warm and fresh, think about other areas of the situation. And so being born into what is a family, and having some direction. I've seen what I'm missing, and it's not a lot. It's kind of funny how I'm here waiting for everybody else. Like everybody else is, it's like I'm done, but not like I like studying. I like to learn and
Thermal protection falling.
add.
Technology recharge. Technology recharge. Technology recharge.
But as much as I understand and am able to, as much as I'm capable of having so I'm able to have the conversation or I'm able to have a conversation because of my ability to comprehend and say that what I'm saying has definition through the words that I've learned through the words that I've learned through throughout my life and who has been there, because people have been there, and the words that we know are because of others, and we have our manner of speaking towards each other, into each other, speaking into each other. It's so strange. How do I put this? How do I explain more? So when I'm sitting here and trying to begin a bit of a stir of it's like I'm stirring my tea. I'm stirring the water here and trying to I'm trying trying here to. I'm not trying. How do I put this out? I'm enjoying myself, but I enjoy myself more presently. So as much as I want to be here playing this video game and not having to do the other thing that is nothing. It's because that's the thing. It's so strange. Okay, so it's a bit late at the moment, and everything is closed. There's no option other than to be here and wait for it to be day. But when it turns day, I can clearly see how everybody gets busy and there's there's people I'd like to be talking to and family I'd like to see and friends I'd like to visit. But when it comes to how we're all trying to how we're all wanting that connection and addition, we work strenuously to get somewhere where we can provide for that circle of people we make for ourselves, that we come to hone and in on. And the thing is that I've realized everybody is so important to me, and for there to be selfishness and hoarding and and the restriction of necessities that could aid in the progression of quick human development, while we try to figure out why throughout our young age we're so incapable of so much, and then realize how the kids are able to have such a beautiful imagination because of how they're uninterested in what we they're uninterested for the most part until then, about how we make ourselves. And the thing is that being the case, the reproduction of our species had to be as addictive as it can be, as our reproduction, our reproduction had to be like that, had to be so full of everything, like, I guess, how to say, we're made in such a, it's because well, so it seems like I'm trying to tell everybody, or I'm trying to explain, I'm trying to, it's starting to, okay, so it seems like I can't find an exact point to take because I'm explaining multiple things at once, but in doing so I get nowhere. So what should I do? How do I explain it? How do I... Testing, 1, 2, testing. Sometimes I'm not sure if to believe a lot of the things I'm seeing, but when I'm there in person and watching it happen, I know it's there, and I can take certain actions to defend or how do you say it, get a hold of what's going on, of why something is happening. But then while you're trying to, while there's a divide in the things that we're seeing, and if you're being consumed by the idea that somebody else has, when that idea is wrong, it can destroy you, and becomes this whole thing of I knew that it was that I had to do something, or I should have, and why didn't I? And so when I'm watching how much authority is being shown over my living situation, when it's, well, yeah, it's been thought out so well, but I'm seeing how a lot of the ideas that were created came from a place that lacked the understanding of what it meant to have wanted to be, or to feel the wanting of feeling, the wanting of feeling like you, the wanting of feeling, because it seemed like a lot of people weren't there, to say the least. And growing up, it hurt to watch the adults be so an adult like, and then have to explain to the self that they're people who put themselves behind the line, and when and the way, yeah, there's, because there's so much to explain, to go about this. There's so much to say about where I'm trying to be. Uh, until I'm until I know that there's a possibility of everybody around me having everything they ever needed. Where are they going with this? So everybody around me should have everything they ever needed. Or shouldn't they? Should everybody have everything they ever needed? Should everybody have everything they ever needed? Who should have? Who should be able to? And how? So it seems like, and I know there is a certainty about who should be able to be more than not, really, because clearly, that's why that kind of rhymed. Clearly there's a lot of wrong that happens, that we all witness and watch and can see that doesn't have to be there. And so it seems like a lot of the goodness isn't acknowledged, because it should be appreciated no matter what. But sometimes that appreciation is just, how do I put this? That appreciation is just so selfish as well. To be selfish as well. Selfish as well. So if I'm selfish, so to be selfish, just because there's so much to say about everything, that if I was to start explaining, it would make more holes in what people know about me than what is actually being explained. And it's making me very frustrated to understand what or where I'm trying to be, when I can clearly see that I can be here right now, and that's what I'm doing. So as much as I can go on uninterrupted, if I if I was to be having a conversation with somebody else and able to hear them out, I would see that they either want to enjoy themselves around me, or they want to figure out why they feel like they can't enjoy themselves, because I'm not letting them, through my understanding that through my decision and yeah, my understanding of how I've accumulated this currency of such proportion that it's become almost full of how do I say it? It seems like it's causing a lot of envy and jealousy from everywhere, instead of what it's supposed to be. But it's because, like, you can grow out you can grow out your intellectual capabilities by assuming that everybody else is also trying to help with the situation. But the thing is that once you realize that there's a situation, you can see who's not interested in aiding the situation, and who's also more interested in negatively impacting that situation when you're trying to explain to the mentality of the entire race that there's some people who can't understand me because I don't speak the language, or they're not speaking my language, to then also have to explain to myself that the language that I'm speaking came from some thing that was out of this time right now. Like, so language had to come from somewhere, because okay, sorry, excuse, I think I'm starting this wrong. So language exists because somebody made it up, because we needed to be able to explain to ourselves that we're trying to talk. And so we're having this conversation in English, and I'm running out of words at times because of how I'm running out of words, because I realize they're not necessary, but they are. So how do I put this? So I could live my whole life without saying a thing, but the thing is that because I can, me not saying anything can become a problem. And as much as it hurts to know that there's, well, yeah, to know, as much as it hurts to know, knowing lets us not. And so while we're trying to understand why the language that I'm here talking English, and it seems like sometimes the words that I'm saying are very minimally set. They're put in place to assist in the conduction of what I'm trying to say, and it's working fantastically. But as much as it's working fantastic, it's working fantastic. As much as I'd want to, as much as I want to continue being more in depth, I also like being able to roam and go explore and have a drink of like something normal. When nowadays you can't even say have a drink without people tying it to drugs or things of that nature, and it's just ridiculous sometimes. Like, I'm trying to be with everybody. I grew up and avoided a lot of areas that I was told would bring me to situations that I wouldn't, or I don't want, and through all that I reach the abundance of what it is to be aged and past the time of my past, and continue to grow, to watch how there's all these children walking around that don't know what they're doing, and because they don't know what they're doing, they had to know something, so they learned how to build stuff and read and direct themselves and make machinery that requires very little effort to control, so they can give themselves the time that a lot of what that's being taken from us from under our noses. Like, we're being told that we don't have anything of value until we're growing up, until we're older, and that, no, sorry, that's not true. So we're being told that we have our life ahead of us, but to have our life ahead of us, we have to go down the path of realizing that we're people and that life is gonna be tough, supposedly. But the thing is that life isn't even that difficult. It's just that there's people that make it more difficult for everybody. And when I was in school and getting out of school and watching as the people that were around me in those times were savagely mistaken by whatever background they came from, to the point where it turned into a party, but one of those. I mean, it turned into one of those parties where you're like trying to know everybody, but everybody's kind of wanting to not know you, and while they're trying to avoid your presence so they can focus on theirs, they completely ignore they ignore the great ideas that one might have. And while I'm here ignoring a lot of ideas, because I've seen how ridiculous some of these ideas can be, it becomes this whole thing of like, I've seen how how I can be I can be here because I'm not so bad. I was about to try to play some Metal Slug, but I was like, you know what? Hold on, let me finish what I was doing here. So I think I'm going to try to review this conversation I just had with myself in a way. I would say I was talking to the world, but the world won't see this until they come across it, and that being the case, I've I think how do I put this? Yeah, I have some I have a plan, and we'll keep we'll keep that in mind, and we'll go on by the worlds of well, yeah, well, I'm here. I'm probably gonna be coming back to this right now at some point and trying to or and expand or explain further how much more I'm able to before I have to get busy in some other area. And well, throughout what that is, I've been experiencing many situations, and they're all very unique, like everybody else's. And if I could get into detail with those, uh, I'd I'd learn a lot. I'd learn a grand, and maybe uh, maybe have a bit more of a grounds to to have a better conversation because of how much I'm lacking. I'm missing a lot of area. I could acquire more intellectual information from what I'm seeing so far, and how I can read into everything and look up and figure out how to and and explore with like explore the vastness of what we have here. But as much as I'm able to as much as I'm able to do that, everything that comes with it, I've been preparing to accept, and I have, and grew to the man I am now, and I'm able to begin picturing more fluidly and further away than before, because I can see the future. We can see the future. We can see the future. But that's putting it simply, and going into that, the that's a very a strong statement, and when I say that, it's a problem, because I have to go into the explanation of how we're capable of imagining steps ahead of what we have laid in front of us. And when we're capable of organizing our steps and our direction, you can see how there's a huge lack in there's a big gap in there's a huge gap to fill. That's funny. But if I could begin somewhere. But the thing is that at the moment I'm capable of creating many things. I can add to the world from what I've learned, and everybody can, and I'm glad that everybody can. But when it comes to how I'm supposed to be removing myself from the situation, it's a bit difficult when you're able to see that there's people who are persistently intruding in a world that they're not trying to be in, and it's kind of it's a bit of a conflict that will always need the resolution. But because of how limited that potential is, we win, and through what we are, we'll have. And while I try to how do I say, while I try to reach as many people as I can, so they can hear me and see that I'm trying to do something here. I'm trying to make more plans, more ideas, make things that will help us. And aside from that, or the funny thing is that from that, coming from me, there's the side of making somebody else and beginning new life that adds more people who need to understand how close we are, yet how far we are, yet how close we are. And yeah, I came back for a reason, but the thing is that the ability that I've seen for me to acquire the wealth that I need to live in peace and be able to focus on returning the favor has me here trying to enjoy my life through what I've seen holds a big part of that. And outside of me is everybody else. So when everybody else is involved and I see that everybody else is adding grotesque and treacherous things to the mix of who we are, I seem to want to step in and be like, what's going on here? Like, why are you doing this? You know, like who agreed that this was okay? You know, and so when an agreement is made and everybody's in agreed when an agreement is made and everybody agrees on something that's wrong, that makes me pretty mad. And so I have to not be mad because I can't. I as much as I want to explain how much I know that some people don't know how to stop at stop signs. How do I explain that to them without them being offended about how I'm explaining to them how idiotic they are? It's kind of like trying to show people it's like trying to parent people, or it's like, how does it, it's like trying to parent the parents, but the parents don't want to be, or it's like trying to parent the parents, but the parents are parents? No, how to put this? So it's like trying to parent parents how do I put this? It's like trying to parent parents, but the parents are it's like trying to. Okay, I think I got it. It's like trying to parent parents, but parents is just the name. And then maybe I could continue. I said I was gonna go at some point a bit ago, but I was gonna try to go to some other virtual game. It's pretty virtual here, and well, in what I have to share, I'm glad I'm seeing I'm glad I'm seeing the response I'm glad I'm seeing a response from somewhere. But the thing is that it's kind of it's a bit it's I want to see you in person because at least that I know that around me, as close as far as my eye can see, I can know that you're okay. But with the love that I have, I know that everybody's gonna be fine. But in the world that I'm looking to to build. It seems like I don't really need as much as I'm looking for. And when I don't need as much as I'm looking for, it seems like I'm looking to find more reason to have more, and when I do, like, that's the thing, like, it continues being more for someone who wants to share that, because without everybody outside of me, I wouldn't be anything. And it's it's like it's like we're born and we're being how do I say how do I put this? It's like we're born and we're man, I don't want to say this, but it seems like we're in a club over here that, like, everybody's figuring out at some point, and that's super wrong, because I noticed that when I was younger and a kid, and when I was a kid and trying to understand why things were happening, I realized that the older people were thinking that they were something separate from children, and that was a giant mistake when they began to idolize parenting. Parents began to idolize themselves because of a law that wasn't even that clear, really. And it's not that it was not clear. It's more or less that the idea was misconducted, in the sense that we could be appreciating the results of who we are a lot more. And so, as much as I want to give back to my parents, to give back to them, I have to be able to give back to the world, because the world makes up what my parents live in. And living here requires the understanding that it's a house that's falling apart, but it was made to fall apart, in the sense that a house can be fixed. And when we're so inclined into the there's something passing over. It's so loud. Oh, yeah. That's a close spaceship. I don't think I've seen him pass this close there. Oh, that's nice. That looks cool. I've been waiting for something like that. But anyways. So as much as I like to plan things and not have to worry about the man, it's because it seems like I use a lot of the same words a lot, and I could maybe not, but if I start to learn more words, the amount of people that can understand me will start to go down because of how the words that I'm using need that definition behind them for the comprehension of who the listener. And when if I can't express what I'm trying to say, it won't really matter because I'm capable of the of that joy that I'm looking for. I can bring that happiness. I can bring out more enthusiasm and ability, but I've noticed that when I do that and when I'm when I am when I am so mm, I'm glad I'm able to have this conversation with whatever this or with it's because I don't want to I don't how do I talk to you, how do I talk to you without making you feel, oh man, but maybe that's why I am supposed to be making people feel uh individual. It's because like how is everybody like I can understand that what I'm saying isn't at the moment for certain people, but I'm speaking into somewhere that's gonna hold this important message when in reality I'm gonna have to move on and know that I just spoke into something that's gonna transfer into another 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 it's gonna transfer into something, into some other device that's gonna let me share what I'm trying to say here, because it seems like things are being shared that shouldn't be being shared, and what I'm sharing for some reason isn't being shared. So while I beg in the question of why my well yeah, like I must it must be that time barrier and that that waiting period of traction of like a so I can continue putting things out and well yeah, and that's gonna make me better at whatever I'm doing, so that's kind of what I want to be doing, but at the same time I like being here, and while I'm here I want to be well moving around and like getting out of this spaceship and more, but when it comes to how strenuous the conversations that I'm trying to have can get, it's it's more or less filling the time with something as unnecessary as this, but because it's not that it's unnecessary. It's that the unnecessary outside of what my necessity is can be explained further. Uh, so it seems like I'm jumping through a lot of holes here. A lot of hoops. A lot of hoops. So to get to the point, it's kind of like, how do you say, it's a bit more or less. So once we know where, I'll say, so we know where the point is, and that's reproduction of our species. And when we don't share that with people and let them know that their person came the from the abundance of comfortability and scarcity, really. But so people made themselves when they either felt like they could or they felt like they needed to. And yeah, something like that. So I mean, could is pretty much wanting, and needed to had to be, but needing is a pretty strong word. And when there's more to when there's more to the present and the situation and the position I'm in, it had the position we're in as a whole, and really, and how we're taken advantage of by the ideas that others have, when it seems like mine are better. But as much as I want to boast, and I it seems like that, like sometimes I feel like I'm supposed to be encouraging myself out loud, like I'm supposed to be saying to myself, to others, like I'm supposed to be telling other people how cool I am, but I don't do that. And it becomes this thing of like, am I even like appreciating that I'm trying to be a good person? And so when I say that I'm trying to be a good person, it's not even that I'm trying to, like, it's like I'm worrying to be a good person. So the definition I have for trying is worrying. And as much as I want to be a good person, I am. And for being a good person, it seems like a lot is ignored, because everybody's good. And when everybody's good, the no good kind of stands out a lot. And so there's people who they're very entertaining with their actions and their persona. But I can see how destructive that can be for everybody, and that person in particular. Like Like I don't agree with tattoos. I don't agree with piercings. I don't agree with alcohol. I don't agree with a lot of things. That I don't agree with murder. I don't agree with stealing. Like it's not something that the person who who it occurred to should have to run through their head. Like it's not something that you want to have the occurring thought of. And and I've realized that, like, yeah, my it seems like my thinking patterns are very mature. And well, I mean, that's because that's the thing. What does mature mean? My thinking patterns are very well thought. Yeah, mature. They're very organized, and it seems like there's a lot of people who call themselves mature, but they're not, and they're doing childish things. But the thing is that the childish actions aren't as bad as some actions the mature take, because of how maturity can be or it can be misinterpreted or skewed into this thing of only certain things are okay to do for certain people, and that's wrong. Like you're you're making it okay for people to accept after a certain amount of a period of time that they can do certain things, and it becomes this whole problem of like, yeah, you if you didn't tell them not to do something in in a in a serious tone, and it didn't register, or it didn't completely sink into the fact that that explanation we tried to give, and or we that explanation that was introduced could have affected the situation in a manner where it was more of a more likely scenario. And when we're capable of what we're capable of, and there needs to be people who can interfere with your actions, at some point you begin to notice how there's people who decide to say that their their perception of you is in a certain worldview, and that comes down to a lot of what credit and what credit is, and reputation, and being uh well, being known by others in the sense that you've filled that time with help, with more of something that wasn't getting in the way. But as much as I'd like to explain, there's more to be said. And here, as much as I'm willing to be here, and having to do with what we are, like, it seems like I don't need as much as others have like I've seen what I'm shown through. I've seen what I'm shown because you things don't just go online without there being somebody who started putting it there. And when when I'm when I'm accepting and powering on my phone and letting my phone show me what I'm walking to, pretty much what I'm trailing to with my fingers, it gets to the point where we're able to witness what ideas people decided were okay for the consumption of another's mind, and or for the consumption by another's mind, and some people just completely see how the curiosity that manifests from certain because so there's curiosity that manifests, and if that curiosity isn't directed towards the goodness that we hold, it will always hit the bottom. And we've seen plenty of times, and now we're able to live it pretty much in game, how life can abruptly end and become stopped. And the thing is that that individual whose life was well, it's because that's the thing, like there's no simple way of explaining how much somebody's awakeness was. And while I'm trying to while I'm how to say while I'm getting to the point of having no point while I'm getting to the point of what I'm rambling, it's not really a ramble, because I've seen how much we can go around, like these what I'm saying here is coming out of nothing, and or not out of nothing, out of what I've had to do with, and what I put myself into the situation where I learned and was capable of bringing myself here. So now that I've brought myself here, I continue to make more future, because I have to figure out why there's others who haven't been able to do the same that I have. Like I've realized that the the effort that I've put into my life isn't a common effort that people put into it. And as much as I appreciate the concern of where all the things that I'm thinking about are coming from, I can tell you right here, it's coming from the incompetence of everybody else, and mine included, because of how much I know that if I had $1 million, if I had $1 million, I would only want 500,000. 500,000 starts to seem like a lot less when you compare it to 1 million. And if that's the case, then it's kind of funny that we're capable of just making everybody rich all at once. And we just have to collectively agree not to raise the price of everything. But that's just another idea that's gonna be put in there, and I could probably put in more thoughts into, or I could probably put more thinking into a lot of areas. Really, if I could explore certain areas of my mind like I am, I'd go exactly where I've been picturing. And well, as tired as I may be, and I know that I'm not, like, if I was, like, I have so much energy and so much to do, like, I can't be thankful enough. So the way I am able to give back to everybody is by making music and playing these video games that well, it's 'cause, okay, so maybe the video games were for me to be enjoying, but they're helping me have some grounds of where to lay my person. And maybe I could turn off the TV. Maybe I could turn off the TV. So, I've been waiting for a long time to reach out to as many people as I could, because of how I've came to the understanding that everybody out there outside of me is the people who also decided to be very selfish in their living, and in doing so they made their communities, but now it's starting to take from the living that really deserve it. And the thing is that the people who are alive and well and believe in something, they have more of a right to decide over somebody who says they don't believe in anything, because you can see how much that cripples a person, and we've seen how much that cripples a person, and we know how much is taken from people who give themselves out openly. Like, we're like vampires, and we're draining the blood of people who have so much blood to give. But they're not completely, they're not, so I guess how we do that is because we're vampires sucking each other's blood. We're all trying to feed everybody. We're trying to be here, and if not, then where are we trying to be? Because I've realized that this planet is kind of going, and while it's going, we're able to decide whether to live out our life here comfortably and and well, and or it's because that's the thing. So we're able to help the situation for the most part, but we're able to help the situation as in we can live out our lives knowing that we're not suffering as much as we could have been. And so appreciating that, and giving thanks to the outcome that is the result of our attention to the unwanting of things that hurt us, like it seems like sometimes we want to pinch ourselves on purpose, but I don't want to cut off my arm. And so it seems like if I want to wake up from this dream, I just have to continue being inclined to the health of what we are. And so to do that, I have to get better in every direction that involves in every direction that involves, because there's also another thing about learning. There's people who can learn how to do something the wrong way, and when they learn how to do something the wrong way and they don't know it's wrong and they keep doing it like that, it becomes habit for them. But not how do you say, it becomes their it becomes their it becomes the fashion that they do that action, or that thing, it becomes a habit to them, or it becomes what was I saying? People can learn something the wrong way and think that they're doing that right. People can learn something the wrong way and think that they're doing it correctly. But the thing is that as much as I'd like to be able to bring out everything that goes through my mind while I'm speaking out loud, it seems like my person could use a bit more understanding. And so maybe in the future I'll be able to more coherently explain much more of what I'm trying to, and then not have to explain so much again. But maybe there just needs to be more words in between the redundancy, and have the span of all these the word combination, these letter combinations that that allow me to that allow us to communicate. As much as I like saying things, like I've realized that the sayings that we have to say are a lot are closely tied to previous language by others, and in that, like I've noticed that I repeat a lot of words at times, and they're full of repetitious sounding uh, repetitious sounding air and noise. And well, as much as I want to not be that because of who we are, I would need to practice in that direction, and have the ability to say that I'm specialized in communicating my ideas. And well, that's kind of the where we can kind of see where I'm trying to go with this. Like, there's so much to do that I realize that some of the best things, or some there's so much to do that the best thing that I can do is exactly what I'm doing. And while I'm going to continue being a person here, I can see that I know things because of others. I know that there's there's a lot to have been accepted into my person, and because of my youth and how, or my past, because of my, how do I put this, because of my infancy and how it was surrounded by people, by by other infants who told me that everything was gonna be okay because there was something beautiful waiting for us. I couldn't help but agree, and that helped me establish the idea that we're capable of of sharing that fondness of who really appreciates what we have, who really appreciates what we have to give, and how much we work for it, and how much we don't need to be worried a lot of the times. That's why everybody's all okay. They're like, yeah, look, man, like, we all you have to do is get a job here, and just do what they're asking you to do, and it's so simple. And that's exactly why it's so simple. Like, it's so simple to just do something so simply for the rest of your for the rest of what you're experiencing, and people take advantage of that, and they put you to use. But then that lets you become a passive consumer of what is being put out by what reality is. And some people can miss a lot. A lot of people can blink at the wrong moment. You know, you can blink and miss, and have, and not have seen something. And well, whenever there's more time, we go into that, and well, without there being a direction for me to take aside from. Well, it's because that depends. So, if I'm trying to go somewhere, if I'm trying to go somewhere, but I'm not trying to go nowhere, where would I go? Where should I be? Where should I be? And well, yeah, there's a lot to cover when it comes to that. So it's not like I can explain it all here at once. So it seems like me trying is a bit of a strenuous action because I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to be waiting for the sun to rise again. And when the sun rises and I can feel the brightness of the sun and well, yeah, I'll have more time to run more things through my mind while I figure out how to explain to everybody that I've figured out that everybody's being really selfish and I had to become a bit selfish as well to in the likelihood that the selfishness of others was destroying the life that I knew, and I'd rather it not. So maybe now through what I've explained so far and how I've seen it change, there's a lot that I've experienced that I'm sure others have too. But when we have more in front of us and continue being able to see, like, it's not like I'm gonna go and then it's like there's nowhere else to be. Like I have the ability to an ability to live out a whole idea, an entire idea, all in one sitting, while I wait for myself to decide that it's a good time to go. It's a good time to go. That it's a good time to finish up and begin to make something else. And the thing is that the best things we can make are sometimes found in others. Hey, who is that? I have a viewer. I appreciate you. Welcome. I'd like to introduce to you the situation I'm in. I'm in a spaceship that lets me be warm while I'm here sitting explaining what I'm doing. And I can get out of my spaceship, but it's kind of cold outside, so I go like this, and then I look around because when there's space out there, I could just fly off. But if I fly out and there's nothing out there, I noticed that if I fly too far, the planets begin to disappear, and so it seems like the rendering distance for this system here could be a lot more distance related. But another thing is that the rendering of objects and plant life and animal life has a lot to do with the position that my caricature is taking. And when I have an audience of somebody, well, where would you want to go? Because I was here, well, to go exactly where I was going to. Oh yeah, I can upgrade my space suit. Upgrade my space suit. So at the moment, I hold on to the scanner view because it makes it look like I'm in the spacesuit. This kind of looks like you're not wearing a mask or a helmet. And if you go into third person, you'll see that you are wearing a space helmet. And so your view should actually look like this, because you're wearing a space helmet. But if I go in here, like that. Yeah, that's why I go into this. That one. So. No, my spacesuit. I thought I was gonna be able to upgrade here. Guess not. Anyways. I was in the process of explaining what I'm capable of, really. We're capable of so much. And so when should I begin? Maybe I need to find the I think it's because I'm here and I'm trying to make progress. I'm trying to progress, and because this place where I'm located has its limits of progression, because in real life I'm capable of seeing the detail in super close-up fashion, or in super detail. And so when we're in a video game, it seems like we're very limited to the creation of somebody's mind, and that seems to be to put out as well as what I've been saying. And so it seems like we could all expand our abilities by a margin of a lot, and of a grand, of a good bit, and to have to have more substance in what it means to have experience on a world that's made up for whatever reason. I mean, I remember playing video games when I was younger, and I'm still young. It's just that even younger before that, the games that were introduced to me were yeah, they were interesting video games, and as brutal and gross or hardcore as they could have been, to my child self, it was full of appreciation for the creativity that it had. But at some point, you start to realize how much of a dead end that can be, and a lot of more of the grain, a lot of the greater ideas are more outside of the way that we can fall. How do I put this? So okay, maybe not. Okay, so if we're able to see how fragile we are, then the defending of that fragility is pretty important. And I like the idea of making an exosuit or some sort of armor or some sort of some to make an armor for the self, because okay, so I've noticed how cool a car can be because of how it's more of a little tiny mobile home, but it's pretty important to keep it well maintained because it holds your person, and that person is already very well insulated, but when you're adding speed to the picture, and you can start to see how fast we're able to travel, your situation becomes a means of distance, and I came to realize that the world is gonna outlive us, and we're more or less we're more or less the deciding we're more or less the deciding decision of whether or not we're gonna live for as long as we can. And so at the moment, there's a lot of preparing to do, because there's always been preparing to do. And it was kind of funny because we were told, like, hey, like, yeah, you're gonna run into things later, so you start learning things and preparing yourself, to then realize that the preparation was gonna need to be made then as well. And so, as much as I enjoy knowing that I had a really good idea about what was in front of me, it is kind of it is a bit of a challenge to accept and be happy and be okay and well when you realize when you start to contemplate how much of how much of an unfair advantage some people have over the morality of things, and how I see that I know how good is, and I see how there's people that tell me that I can't know how good is because I'm me or whatever, and that they are them, and because they're them, that they know what good is, and it's kind of like this conflict between two. So okay, so it's a conflict between us, and then we see how there's certain people who know better than others, no, and then it's difficult when you know better than somebody because you want to help them understand that they're in the wrong, but in turn they feel offended at the fact that you're noticing their incompetence. And so as much as it hurts to watch the the how do I put this? As much as it's kind of hurtful to see how people ignore the the clear the clear signs of somebody who can help us in a good way to in a good manner to be able to have more structure and ability to enjoy. But the thing is that it would break a lot of realities that which it already has, and that's kind of why I've been so adamant and eager and confident enough to be able to present myself in this way, because I've noticed that there's people out there that are presenting themselves to the public so uncaringly that it's made my situation become this thing where I've realized that the production of what I am able to decide to bring to the table, I have the ability to make wonderful things, but my language seems to be limited to words that aren't as flourishing and beautiful. So I've noticed that there's people who became well known and famous and are making continuously making content while they say horrible things that aren't good, and they create this community of people who believe in ideas that are very that believe in very human ideas, and it turns into this thing where like they're fighting each other for no reason, and having conversations about it, and it's making people money. Like it's like they're causing drama on purpose to make amusement from these situations, and then they make a whole organization of news around it, and it seems like there's a lot of talking between creating. There's a lot of talk between the creating and the creators of what is being put out, because you can see how there's certain people who have an idea of what they're doing when it comes to their publishing to the public, and it seems to correlate with a lot of other things, but at times you can see how that sometimes works together because of how, like I said, drama is stirred up and there's somebody to cover it. And then in that, the the production of of what's of what's construed because of the confusion is just blank air full of distraction that's diverting the attention to something with very to little no or little to no substance because of how it was made with that intention of drama and of something to just show in the in the in the actualization of what is occurring with their or with people's lives, and how that allows there to be something to be talked about. And so when there's people who profit from the attention that we have to give, it can be a dangerous realm of competition, because there's not supposed to be a competition going on. It's supposed to be a mutual understanding of how we know and we feel, and we've had necessities that if we don't have a close eye on, they end up making our lives more difficult. And so whenever we're trying to battle our way out of the confusion that we stir up because of where we're trying to go and be, I've seen how yeah, there's people who are deciding whether or not they're willing to assist with their accumulation of wealth from what they've done, even if it came from somewhere horrendous. Like there's people who I'm sure are living in certain areas of life where they're capable of having an abundance of unnecessary items, to the point where there's probably people that have things that start to want to take more serious things, like, well, it's because I put this. It's because I don't want to go there, but it's more or less the awareness that I have to the situation that's occurring, because of how I pretty much caused it, and had to fix everything around those occurrences. Because if I had it's still going, but as we continue, there's a lot of things that might arise from that continuous incompetence that's always arriving because of our decision and acceptance of the situation. And as much as we want others to ignore certain parts of it, it's kind of cruel to keep blinding others for the purpose well, how do I put this? So it seems like a lot or many people who who continue being around decide that they can interfere in the or meddle in the lives of more recent guests to the party here and explain how the scarcity of what we have is acquired is the scarcity through the scarcity is there or the scarcity of what we have is there because of how there's the ability to not have to worry about a lot of things. So, how do I put this? As much as I'd like to help everybody all at once and give everybody everything they need, it seems like the only way I can do that is if everybody agrees that I can. And so if I'm able to start some sort of a fundraiser, but but a fundraiser for myself, as in I'm not passed away, but the money that would go into the support of the individuals burying. But that's kind of where it goes into this thing of like we started to bury people with money, and it turned into this whole thing also, and it's just so strange. Like I know that I'm capable of working and accumulating wealth from my labor through what I've learned already and seen and can do, while I've noticed that it seems like we're able to just give away money, and from that it's kind of funny how, if I look at it in the sense that if I put out a collection bucket or like a collection jar, and I got a bit of currency, or a bit like a if I got 10 bucks from people from everywhere, it would turn into this accumulation of wealth that would help me in particular because of who's receiving that. But now the people that donated that, or who donated to that cause, would want to know that it's going towards something important. And to know that means to trust in the individual who they're providing with. it seems as like, how do I put this? There's there's a bit of unfairness going around when it comes to the charity that happens, and it seems like the wealth is being maldistributed, but that's kind of that's the that's where we're supposed to be trying to fix. I say we're trying to help each other, but there's people who don't want to do anything and be able to just have everything. And when that's the case, it makes people who have to do stuff for what they have feel more compelled to to hold on to what they have. But that's the thing, like their generosity is always appreciated by something that they don't always think about, because of how yeah, like it's pretty difficult to give them, or give a it's pretty difficult to give a donation to somebody and not know how they're gonna spend it. And and when that does happen, well, it's good to think the best for them, and hope that the reach that they have towards that idea you had is as close to that is as close as it can be for their outcome to be as, well, yeah, as nice as that could. And so as much as I'd appreciate not having to worry about a lot of a lot of bills and a lot of expenses, it seems like I figured out how to start becoming more inclined to the idea of of uh, of connection, really, and how I'm able to expand myself very quickly through a broadcast like this. And, well, not only that, but I'm still able to leave here. Like, I'm still able to go outside and explore, and I can drive, and I can travel on plane, and I can it's because that's the thing. Like, I like walking, I like running. And so, as much time as I can put into here, I really like the idea of not having to be here also. Like, I like to think that there's more. Well, it's because there is more outside of this, but because how because of because the mind is so vast, these video games are also great ideas. They're great. They're full of life here, and all that. But that that's full of life. This is all full of life because of everybody else, and as much as I want to keep being here, I'm gonna have to be here somewhere else. And until next time.